Life begins to shift the moment you stop waiting for someone else to make it better. For too long, people hold on to the illusion that someone is going to show up with all the answers, that some external savior will arrive to rescue them from their struggles, or that circumstances will somehow magically change without their effort. But reality is different. No one is coming to solve your problems, to fight your battles, or to hand you the life you dream about. The only person who can change the direction of your journey is the one you see in the mirror. Taking full ownership of your life is not just an idea, it is a responsibility, and when you accept it, everything changes. Ownership begins with honesty. It requires admitting where you are right now without excuses and without shifting the blame. Many people stay stuck because they are more focused on pointing fingers than on finding solutions. They blame their family, their environment, their lack of resources, or even their past. But blame never builds the future. The moment you accept responsibility, you reclaim power. You may not control where you started, but you control where you go from here. Life may not have been fair, but dwelling on unfairness keeps you from moving forward. Ownership means saying, I cannot change what has already happened, but I can decide what happens next. This kind of radical responsibility feels uncomfortable at first. It is easier to believe that circumstances or other people are the reason you are not where you want to be. But the truth is that even if life gave you perfect conditions, without ownership you would waste them. Opportunities only matter when someone is prepared to act on them. Ownership makes you ready. It sharpens your focus, eliminates excuses, and forces you to ask the hard questions. What can I do today to move forward? What can I learn from this situation? How can I change my habits, my mindset, and my actions to create a different result? These questions shift you from helplessness to empowerment. The greatest leaders and achievers all share this trait. They take ownership. They do not sit around waiting for perfect timing, they create it. They do not complain about lack of support, they build their own. They do not allow failure to define them, they learn from it and keep moving. Ownership turns every setback into a lesson. Instead of saying, this happened to me, ownership asks, how can I use this? That shift is what separates those who stay stuck from those who rise. Taking ownership of your life also means understanding that discipline is your responsibility. No one else can give you discipline. People may inspire you, books may motivate you, mentors may guide you, but when the time comes to do the work, no one can do it for you. It is you who has to wake up early, you who has to put in the hours, you who has to stay consistent. Ownership means embracing discipline not as a punishment, but as the tool that sets you free. Discipline builds trust in yourself. Every time you follow through, you prove to yourself that you are capable. That self-trust becomes the foundation of confidence. When you take ownership, you also stop waiting for permission. Too many people delay their dreams because they are waiting for someone to tell them it is okay, or waiting for approval from people around them. But the truth is, no one is required to validate your vision. Ownership means giving yourself permission. You decide that your dreams are worthy, your goals are valid, and your effort matters. The moment you stop waiting for external approval, you free yourself from limitation. You begin to live by your own standards instead of shrinking to fit the expectations of others. Ownership is not about controlling everything. It is about controlling what you can. Life will always have factors outside of your control. Storms will come, people will disappoint, challenges will appear without warning. Ownership does not mean pretending those things don't exist. It means focusing on your response rather than the circumstances. You may not control the storm, but you control whether you build shelter or collapse in fear. You may not control other people, but you control how you treat them, how you set boundaries, and how you protect your energy. Ownership shifts your focus from what you cannot change to what you can, and that is where power lies. One of the most liberating aspects of ownership is that it makes you the author of your story. Without ownership, you are just a character being pushed around by circumstance. With ownership, you pick up the pen, you decide how the next chapter is written. You may not have chosen the first chapters of your life, but you have the authority to write the rest. This realization is both heavy and freeing. Heavy because it leaves no room for excuses. Freeing because it means you are not doomed to repeat your past. Every day you wake up with the chance to write differently. Ownership also requires courage. It is not easy to admit that your life is your responsibility. It is not easy to look in the mirror and acknowledge the ways you have held yourself back. But courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite it. Ownership asks you to face your flaws honestly and then commit to changing them. It asks you to take risks without waiting for guarantees. It asks you to step forward even when you feel unprepared. Courage is built by action, and each time you act, your ownership deepens. There is a deep sense of freedom in ownership because it means you are no longer dependent on others for your success or happiness. If you rely on others to carry you, you will always be at their mercy. But when you rely on yourself, you become unshakable. You may accept help, you may learn from others, but your foundation is your own strength. That independence allows you to move forward even when no one claps for you, even when no one believes in you. Ownership means you believe in yourself enough to keep going regardless of external validation. Ownership also eliminates the victim mindset. Victimhood convinces people that they are powerless, that life is happening to them and they can do nothing about it. But that mindset is poison. It strips away your strength and blinds you to opportunities. Ownership is the antidote. It says, yes, difficulties exist, but I am not powerless. I have choices. I have the ability to grow, to adapt, to overcome. Ownership replaces hopelessness with determination. Every area of life changes when you embrace ownership. In health, you stop waiting for motivation and start showing up consistently. In relationships, you stop blaming others for your unhappiness and start working on yourself. In career, you stop waiting for the perfect opportunity and start creating value where you are. In personal growth, you stop wishing for change and start building habits that produce it. Ownership touches everything because responsibility is the root of progress. The truth is, no one can want your dreams more than you do. No one can do the push-ups for you. No one can study on your behalf. No one can live your life in your place. Others can cheer for you, but they cannot carry you. Waiting for someone else to do the work will only keep you where you are. Ownership reminds you that everything depends on you. Your choices, your mindset, your actions. This is not meant to be a burden, but a liberation. It means your life is in your hands, and no one can take that away from you. The difference between people who transform their lives and those who remain stuck is not luck, intelligence, or resources. It is ownership. Those who rise refuse to surrender responsibility. They accept that it is their job to create, to build, to persist. They understand that no one is coming to rescue them, and because of that, they rise to the challenge. Ownership becomes their strength, their shield, their weapon, and once you embrace it, you stop being a passenger in life and become the driver. Relying on others may seem comforting in the short term, but in the long run it makes you fragile. It ties your strength to the presence, approval, or support of people who may not always be there. True growth happens when you realize that independence is not isolation, but resilience. The struggles you face alone become the very fuel that forges your character, building strength that cannot be taken away. When you learn to stand on your own feet, you carry within you a power that no setback, rejection, or abandonment can destroy. Life has a way of testing your independence. At some point, the support you thought you could count on will not be available. Friends may walk away, mentors may be busy with their own lives, and even family may not fully understand your vision. In those moments, people who have built their strength through independence continue to move forward, while those who have relied too heavily on others collapse. This is why independence is not optional if you want lasting success. It is a necessity. You must be able to hold yourself together when the world feels like it's falling apart. Independence is not about rejecting connection. Human beings thrive on relationships, but there is a difference between connection and dependency. Dependency says, I cannot move unless you push me. Independence says, I am moving whether you come with me or not. This mindset changes everything. It prevents you from becoming a hostage to other people's approval, and it allows you to keep your focus on your path. Instead of waiting for someone to guide your steps, you carve your own. Instead of relying on encouragement to act, you generate your own motivation. This makes you powerful because your progress is no longer at the mercy of others. The truth is, every struggle you face alone is an opportunity to grow stronger. Think about the moments in your life when you felt completely unsupported. At first, those times may have felt unbearable. You may have questioned whether you could keep going, but if you pushed through, you discovered something inside yourself that you didn't know was there. You found resilience, you found determination. You found the ability to endure. Those qualities didn't come from comfort, they came from struggle. Independence is forged in those fires. One of the reasons independence builds strength is that it forces you to take responsibility. When no one else is carrying you, you are left with no choice but to carry yourself. That pressure reveals your hidden capacity. Too many people never discover how strong they truly are because they never allow themselves to face challenges alone. They lean so heavily on others that they weaken their own muscles of resilience. But the moment you stop leaning, the moment you stand on your own, those muscles begin to grow. Every independent step strengthens you. Independence also builds clarity. When you are overly reliant on others, your decisions are clouded by their opinions, their expectations, and their approval. You may choose paths not because they are right for you, but because you fear losing support. But when you learn to stand alone, your vision clears. You begin to ask yourself, what do I truly want? What path is authentic to me? What choice aligns with my values? Independence strips away the noise and helps you hear your own voice. That voice is your compass, and when you follow it, you walk a path that is yours, not borrowed. Building strength through independence also means embracing discomfort. It means being willing to walk into situations where you are unsure, afraid, or unprepared, and trusting yourself to figure it out. Growth does not come from staying in safe places, surrounded by constant support. Growth comes from stretching beyond comfort, from facing challenges where you have to rely on your own creativity and persistence. Every time you face discomfort alone, you expand your capacity. What once terrified you becomes manageable. What once felt impossible becomes natural. Discomfort becomes your teacher, and independence becomes your strength. Another key aspect of independence is learning to be your own motivator. Too many people wait for encouragement before they act. They need someone to tell them they are capable, someone to remind them of their goals, someone to push them when they feel lazy. But waiting for external motivation is dangerous because what happens when no one is there to remind you? Independence means building an inner voice that pushes you, encourages you, and disciplines you. It means being able to wake up and say to yourself, I am doing this, not because anyone is watching, not because anyone is pushing me, but because I owe it to myself. That internal drive is unshakable because it doesn't rely on applause. Independence also protects you from the unpredictability of life. People change, circumstances shift, promises are broken. If your stability depends on those things, you will always be vulnerable. But when your foundation is built on your own strength, you become resilient to change. Even if people leave, even if support vanishes, you continue to stand. Independence means your strength is portable. You carry it with you wherever you go, no matter what happens around you. The process of building independence is not easy. It requires facing fear, loneliness, and doubt. But each time you push through, you prove to yourself that you can. You build evidence of your own resilience. That evidence becomes confidence, and confidence becomes momentum. Soon, what once felt impossible feels natural, and you realize that your independence is no longer just survival. It is empowerment. You are no longer waiting to be carried. You are carrying yourself with strength and purpose. It is also important to understand that independence does not mean you never accept help. It means you are not dependent on it. You can receive support without being destroyed if it disappears. You can appreciate guidance without being paralyzed when it ends. Independence gives you the ability to stand with or without others. That is true strength. It allows you to build relationships out of choice, not need. You connect with others because you value them, not because you cannot survive without them. This makes your relationships healthier, stronger, and more authentic. Every great achievement in history was born from independence. Innovators who created breakthroughs often did so against the opinions of others. Leaders who inspired change often stood alone before others joined them. Artists who transformed culture often faced rejection before they were celebrated. Their strength was not built on constant approval, but on independence, the ability to keep going when no one believed in them. That same independence lies within you. Every time you choose to move forward without waiting for validation, you are walking the same path. Strength through independence also gives you resilience against failure. Failure is inevitable in any pursuit, but those who rely too heavily on others often crumble when things go wrong. They look for someone to blame, someone to fix it, someone to make the pain go away. Independent people, however, take failure as a challenge. They analyze it, learn from it, and keep moving. They don't wait for rescue, they rescue themselves. That self-reliance allows them to turn failure into fuel, and that fuel drives them further than they ever imagined. Perhaps the most profound gift of independence is the unshakable confidence it creates. When you know that you can rely on yourself, you move differently. You stop being afraid of losing people, losing opportunities, or facing hardship, because you know that no matter what, you can stand. That confidence radiates. It influences how you walk into a room, how you face challenges, how you set goals. Independence is not just about surviving, it is about thriving with strength that comes from within. Every time you face a struggle alone, remember that you are not being punished, you are being trained. Each obstacle you conquer independently is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The struggle is the gym, and independence is the muscle you are building. And just like in any training, the more you practice it, the stronger you become. In time, you will look back and realize that the moments you thought would break you were the very moments that built you. Stop looking outward for validation, direction, or approval. The world is full of voices telling you what you should be, how you should act, what dreams are realistic, and which ones are too big. If you spend your life chasing those voices, you will lose your own. Creating your own path and power begins the moment you decide that your vision is enough, your discipline is enough, and your belief is enough. Waiting for someone else to tell you it is okay to chase your dream is the fastest way to waste your life. The truth is, no one else sees the vision inside you as clearly as you do. No one else carries the fire that burns in your chest. That responsibility and that privilege belong only to you. The greatest trap is external validation. When you base your sense of worth on how others perceive you, you are forever at their mercy. If they approve, you feel high. If they disapprove, you crush. But real strength comes when you validate yourself. You do not need the applause to believe in your worth. You do not need the crowd to follow your direction. When you validate yourself, you free yourself from dependency. You stop performing for others and start living for your truth. That shift is powerful because it allows you to pursue your vision even when no one claps, even when no one understands. Creating your own path requires courage because it means stepping away from the path that everyone else is walking. The safe route is always crowded. It is filled with people doing what is expected, what is normal, what feels comfortable. But your life is not meant to be a copy of someone else's. Your potential is not reached by following the footprints of those who walked before you. Your potential is unlocked when you dare to step into unknown territory, carving out a road that is uniquely yours. At first, that road feels lonely. You may doubt yourself, you may face resistance, you may feel fear. But as you keep walking, that road becomes your legacy. Power comes from discipline, and discipline is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. Many people dream big but live small because they lack the daily discipline to close the gap. Creating your own path means you cannot rely on someone else's routine or someone else's push. You have to build your own structure, your own standards, your own rules of engagement. Discipline is not glamorous, but it is transformative. Every time you choose consistency over comfort, you strengthen your power. Every time you wake up and follow through on your plan, you prove to yourself that you are serious about your vision. That proof builds self-respect, and self-respect builds unstoppable momentum. When you create your own path, you will face doubt, not only from others but also from within yourself. Doubt whispers, what if you fail? What if you are not enough? What if this is impossible? That voice is natural, but it is not truth. The truth is that every person who has ever achieved something extraordinary has faced the same voice. They moved forward not because they lacked fear, but because they refused to let fear make their decisions. Doubt may never disappear, but your discipline and your belief can make it irrelevant. The more you act, the quieter doubt becomes. Action silences fear. Part of creating your own path is accepting that rejection and criticism are inevitable. People will misunderstand you. They will question your choices. They will try to fit you back into the box of their expectations. If you are not ready for criticism, you are not ready for greatness. The key is to use criticism as fuel, not as chain. Let it sharpen you, not stop you. Remember that most people who criticize are not the ones taking risks. They are the ones watching from the sidelines. Do not let their fear dictate your future. Your path is not for them to understand. It is for you to walk. Creating your own power means trusting yourself enough to make decisions and to own those decisions. Many people waste years in hesitation, waiting for someone else to tell them what to do, afraid of making mistakes. But mistakes are not the enemy, they are the teachers. Every mistake carries a lesson that strengthens you. Every wrong turn reveals a truth that guides you forward. Power does not come from never failing. It comes from being unafraid to fail. It comes from having the courage to try, to fall, to rise, and to keep moving. There is also an element of sacrifice in creating your own path. You cannot hold on to everything and expect to move forward. You may have to let go of certain friendships, certain habits, certain comforts that no longer serve your vision. Sacrifice is not loss, it is an investment. Every time you give up something that holds you back, you create space for something greater. That space is where growth happens. That space is where your power expands. Another truth about creating your own path is that it often starts small. People imagine that power means massive breakthroughs overnight, but real power is built in the quiet, unseen hours. It is built when you stay consistent, when you choose growth over excuses, when you show up even when you feel tired. Those small steps may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time they compound into transformation. Your path is not created in one giant leap. It is carved step by step, day by day, through persistent effort. It is also essential to understand that your path does not have to look like anyone else's. Too often, people abandon their vision because it does not match what society celebrates. They think success must look a certain way, sound a certain way, or follow a certain timeline. But your journey is not meant to be compared. Your success is not less valuable because it looks different. Creating your own path means embracing your uniqueness and recognizing that your timeline is valid. Some people bloom early, others bloom late. What matters is that you bloom at all, that you honor the pace that is true to you. Power also comes from resilience, the ability to keep going when things get hard. Creating your own path will not be easy. There will be setbacks, failures, disappointments, but resilience transforms obstacles into stepping stones. It teaches you that a closed door is not the end, but a redirection. It reminds you that one failure does not define your future. Resilience is built through persistence, through the decision to keep moving no matter what. That decision, repeated again and again, is what gives you unstoppable power. At the core of creating your own path and power is self-belief. Without belief, discipline feels like punishment, risks feel unbearable, and dreams feel out of reach. But with belief, discipline becomes a gift, risks become adventures, and dreams become goals. Belief is the engine that keeps you moving when nothing else makes sense. It is the voice that says, keep going, you are capable, you are worthy. That voice must come from within because the world will not always say it to you. When you believe in yourself deeply, you can endure storms, face rejection, and keep walking even when the road is dark. In the end, creating your own path and power is about freedom. It is about freeing yourself from the expectations of others, from the need for validation, from the fear of judgment. It is about taking control of your destiny and deciding that your life will not be a repetition of someone else's story. It is about building the courage to be different, the discipline to be consistent, and the belief to keep going. This freedom is not given. It is earned through action, through persistence, and through the refusal to settle for less than what you know you are capable of.